Life is tough at times. This hayat dunya actually takes you really deep into tests and trials at times. I just today just felt like listening to some recitations of the Quran, and I went to Quran Central after a long time, and I was thinking which reciter should I listen to because most of the times when you go to qurancentral.com or any reciter, like any recitation on YouTube, what you get to see is that they are like going in a flow, and for people to like literally identify the wordings being uttered in that flow can get really difficult, especially if you have no idea what Arabic is. And it was quite fascinating. I like obviously back in the day when I used to listen to recitations, and the Quran recitations were really a big helping tool for me in my life, in my condition, and everything. And I used to listen to recitations back then, and obviously I had no clue what the wordings are meaning, except in a bit of words which actually are kind of part of my language as well, Urdu. Urdu has a lot of Arabic in it. And Urdu, there is a history that why Urdu has a lot of Arabic, but history is just his story, somebody's story. So, anyways, I could understand some words back then, but now it's been like around almost a year that I've been Quran alone, and I have done a lot of personal digging into the Quran myself. And when I was listening to the recitations, like I put on, Mr. Sudes, and I was listening to his recitation of Surah Rom, Surah Yasin, Surah Safat, and yeah, Surah Yasin and Surah Rom. I haven't heard that much before, but Surah Yasin and Surah Safat definitely it like gave me a very nostalgic sort of feeling, a very calming. I'm not gonna lie. Look, what I'm gonna say right now, it's from the depth of my understanding, which I've just observed like half an hour or an hour ago. So the thing is, whenever people are listening to the Arabic Quran recitation, well, even if people, I know people hate the fact about Islam and all or whatever and the Quran, but I know it for sure that they can even like admit it secretly in their hearts that the recitation of the Quran has a powerful impact on the human's mind and the whole biology, to be honest. Well, I I would like to say continue with the fact that why people get so much attuned to the recitations. Well, the first thing as like I believe in the Quran and Allah as the creator of everything and the one who's revealed the Quran. I believe the Quran to be the speech of Allah, the verbatim speech of Allah. So obviously it has an effect. But to be honest, like if somebody would say, "Oh, I heard the surah and I felt really good," and well, to be honest, that sounds more like a magical spell sort of a statement. But what I mean to say is that it has an impact on our biology. Why? There's two reasons. Well, the first reason is for sure, and the second one is a variable, according to my opinion. The first one is that, and this fact I did not know before. Like, I had a feeling, I had discussed it with a friend once, but I got confirmed after, in the last year when I was, going through my journey. So, what I found out is that The Arabic language, literally, it touches our internal organs. You believe it or not, but literally, it's got seven different, what do you call it? Seven different levels of frequency. Just like the seven chakras that, in those corrupt systems that they have. But like there's a bit of truth wrapped up with a lot of falsehood everywhere. So the seven frequencies, which are basically like the seven major, energy centers in the body. The Arabic language is touching all of them. So, like, I was discussing this fact with a friend the other day on a call that she was like, I cannot pronounce Arabic or even other languages that well. So I said to her that, have you heard the fact that a lot of, people that are deaf, they're mutes as well? And she said, yes. I was like, that is because you only say, or you can, like, use a sound from your mouth once you've heard it. So, what I mean to say is that if you haven't heard the proper sound of something, like a word or like a language, a word, how it's pronounced in a language, you will not be able to take it out properly. This is just the same as the concept of tone deaf people, if you know what I'm talking about. People, there are people that can't sing because they cannot actually hear the right frequency that is being emitted for them to match it. So they are tone deaf. And I was tone deaf as well at the beginning of my life when I was trying to become a musician. But then later on, I just acquired it. Well, that is a different discussion. That you can say that, well, everybody hears the Quran but they can't pronounce it properly. Yeah, that's a different discussion. But what I mean to say, the first reason is that Arabic language has to be the mother tongue of humanity, the Ummul Lisan. I don't know whether that term is in the Quran or not, but Ummul Lisan, like the mother of tongues, for the Ummul Qura, the mother of cities. So that is why everybody gets so impacted heavily by the recitations. Then the second point comes that the reciters, whoever that's reciting. Now we know there different modes and everything, but brothers and sisters, pay attention to what I'm going to say now. Around 70-80% of the reciters that there are, they have a very like a sad sort of a mode to them, like a very minor scale in which they are doing their recitations. And like when I was listening to my recitation, like around half an hour, 1 hour ago, there was a point at Surah Rome where some, I don't even remember exactly what was going on, but like I said, now when I listen to recitations, the words are very clear to me. Like I can somehow understand what type of conversation it is, but I don't know what is the exact conversation, but I can somehow figure out what type of content is there because of the words, like because of my research now. So a point came in Surah Rome, and I got really emotional at that point. Like I tears got teared up and everything, and that was because of, that was not because of the words, to be honest. That was because of how the reciter just went into a very emotional uh, mode, and that was the thing that actually happened. And people might, and obviously people would say, oh, he knows, he understands, what is he reciting, and that's impacting him. Well, whatever that he's understanding is according to what he's learned from his scholars. Not, he hasn't pondered himself personally into it. Whatever, even if he does, and he tells them the oh I think he tells his peers or like his teacher that oh I understand this. They'd be like, oh, can't do that, you can't do that, oh no 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 no. Although in the Quran Allah tells us you have to ponder, reflect, you have to use your aql, you have to figure things out yourself. So basically, then there were some parts in Surah Safat where Sudes went quite deep, and I'm gonna personally check them out later on. That what those verses were actually talking about, and what. But my point is that the Arabic language has to be the Ummul Lisan. Like, thanks a lot to Brother Igor for like showing us a lot of things, very relevant things, very important things. If people think these things are not important, then I don't know what are you existing for, because Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has given us the whole, like, if you want to track or trace back the real actual blueprint or the real template of the Arabic language or words, that is a Quran. Oh yes, that it is. And then people have done their own, like, well, whatever that's happened in history, whatever resets, whatever words got manipulated and everything, I understand all that. But now what is happening, people are just like, the reciters, like when you go to qurancentral.com, there's the whole market of reciters. Once I heard, that guy Bilal Phillips, that African American guy who like is in the Dawah scene or whatever, in the Sunni scene. He once said in a speech that, oh, I used to be in a band and I was a musician, and I, and he was talking about music, and he was like, oh, you know why music is haram? Because the words of the lyrics, they enter your heart, and like a time comes that literally, like even after 20, 30 years, if you listen to that song, you will know the words, and even the way that they're delivered. I'll tell you something. Right now, when I was listening to Sudesh, though I remember back in the day when I used to listen to Surah Yasin or Surah Safat from him, and the way that he recites, and those in that specific recording, before he could even, like, was going to do that, I was doing it with him. So my question to Bilal Phillips is that what kind of an analogy you were trying to give us, that oh, the lyrics of songs, they enter your heart. What about this? This had entered my heart that way as well. Pardon me. I think that is the way that people are reciting Quran around and this and that. I'm very sorry to say if anybody objects or gets offended by what I'm gonna say, but this is music. You are doing music with the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will pay a big price for this, no doubt, one day. Because if you're like, you're just amassing people, controlling them with your sad recitation, and trying to take over their minds, entrancing them, they don't even know what you're saying. Even I can guarantee you don't even know what Allah said in those verses which you're reciting on them. What are you doing? What are you doing? You are, I'm sorry to say, mujrimun. When Allah says mujrimun in the Quran, eh? So all these people who know what they're doing, and they're doing it. Some might not even know what they're doing, but they're blindly following. So it doesn't make it any better, does it?